stranger started talking.
Good morning, welcome to Pizzaplex Radio, the only morning talk show that serves up takes hotter than a slice, fresh from the food court. I'm your host, AJM, and this is kind of going to be a short little, just kind of rambly thing for me, 10-minute or so episodes where I just kind of talk about a random FNAF topic I feel like talking about, whether it be new games, old games, theories, just spitballing, what have you. But today, specifically, I wanted to kind of talk about the Mask Bros from the FNAF 4 minigames. You know, Foxy Bro, Freddy Bro, Bonnie Bro, etc. You know, obviously, we can safely assume that Foxy Bro is Michael Afton. I feel like it's not quite confirmed, but it's about as close as we're gonna get, I think. And in Help 1 and 2, we find out that the protagonist is most likely Bonnie Bro through the secret ending. Not even the secret ending. The Princess Quest. What would you call it, even? Gravestone puzzle? We find out that if you put all of the gravestone, if you light all the gravestones in the correct order, you go underground, you find the Bonnie mask, and it says, this seems familiar to you, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what, but it's something to the effect of this is familiar to you, or the mask is familiar to you. And as such, we can kind of assume that the main character of Help 1 and 2 is Bonnie Bro. Or at least this is what we've drawn from that, until there's a better conclusion to draw. And what some people might not know is that in the Mega Cat game Into the Pit, based off the first Fazbear Frights novel? Yeah, Fazbear Frights. Into the Pit, there is I forget the exact circumstances, but there's a scene where you can go up into the attic, or you can open the attic, and when you do, a Freddy mask falls from the attic door down onto the floor, and then that's kind of that. Which implies that the main character's dad was the Freddy Bro from the FNAF 4 minigames. And to this point, the Chica Bro has been MIA. We don't know who the Chica Bro was, who it might be. That's something that we're still waiting to find out. But until we do, I wanted to talk about Steel Wool's insistence on bringing these characters back around, because they weren't super important characters prior to Steel Wool. You know, Foxy Bro, obviously very important because that's Michael Afton. That's the crux of the entire original arc of Five Nights at Freddy's. You can't really have Five Nights at Freddy's without having Michael Afton. So he is very important in that way. But with the Help 1 and 2 protag, you have Bonnie Bro, which, don't get me wrong, is a cool... it's a cool revelation, but there's nothing really to be had there. You see it and you say, okay, wow, that's cool that they're bringing this plot point back. It's cool to see this character again. But why? Right? What is the significance of having this character resurface this far down the line? And the same goes for the Mega Cat game, Into the Pit. I don't know why I keep putting so much emphasis on the fact that it's a Mega Cat game, but the same thing goes for Into the Pit. And I know I said Steel Wool earlier, this is really just new era FNAF, because Steel Wool didn't make Into the Pit. And I don't know that they had any input on that. I don't even know how much input Scott had on the end of the pit game. Regardless, it's one of those things, again, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought entirely here. With the Freddy mask falling out of the attic and the revelation that Oswald's dad could be Freddy Bro from FNAF 4, we, again, cool revelation, but to what end? And I think that's kind of where I'm at with this, is if they are so insistent on bringing these characters back, what is the Chekhov's gun here? Is there a Chekhov's gun here, rather, would be a better question. And if not, why bother bringing those characters back around? Or cycling those characters back into the narrative? Because, peek behind the curtain. At the time of recording this, it is August, 22nd. So, just 10 days out from... No. That's wrong. I don't remember the exact date, but I'm just a few weeks out from the 12th anniversary of FNAF, where we got the teasers for FNAF World 2 and Security Breach 2. And part of me wonders if we will get a Chica Bro recurrence. That's not the word I'm looking for. A Chica Bro resurgence, I guess. I'm really blanking on the term that I'm looking for here, but regardless. If we see Chica Bro again in... reasonably, it would probably be Security Breach 2, is where they would cycle that back around, but I don't know, it could be FNAF World 2. Why? Where's this going? Because I think the narrative here, or at least Michael Afton and the Help Wanted 2 Pro Tag, if the Help Wanted 2 Pro Tag is indeed Bonnie Bro, which I think is probably the case, but I have seen other theories floating around that I won't get into. It's this narrative of, specifically with Michael Afton, but more so with Bonnie Bro. I'm running in circles here, I apologize. Like I said, I'm just spitballing here. I like the narrative that they are people that do this thing, and then in FNAF 4 is the thing I'm recurring to. The thing in question is the FNAF 4 Fight of 83. They accidentally kill the crying child. And then they're all like, what have we done? Like, oh, this is really, really bad. We just killed a fucking child. Not only do we kill kill a child, but in the case of Michael Afton, I just killed my little brother. And so way later down the line, wherever Security Breach and Help Wanted 2 in this new era of FNAF games takes place, you have Bonnie Bro coming back around and saying, okay, I am at the very least partially responsible for the death of a small child. I have to atone for what I've done. And as such, going back to Fazbear, probably getting a job with Fazbear in this case, and just doing anything and everything that you can to atone for what you've done. Maybe with Bonnie Bro, he knows, like, okay, there's something happened, because there's all these rumors, even when I was a kid or a teenager or whatever, about the suits being possessed. And so maybe Bonnie Bro knows, oh hey, crying child was possessing one of the suits, and it's my fault. I need to atone for what I've done. I think you can certainly say that's the case for Michael Afton, who, through the security logbook and, you know, the first really the first 6 games, is going back through these old pizzerias and doing everything that he can to undo the evil that his father has done. Says, okay, you know, regardless of what his motives are, I think it's easy to say that he was maybe coerced by William. But you can kind of say that he goes to at least FNAF 3, and then 3 and 6 are most certainly him trying to atone for the bad that he's done. You can make the case for 1, 2, and 5 being him under the... control's the wrong word. Under the order of William at that point in the timeline. 5, I think almost certainly he is following William's orders. But in 1 and 2, it's kind of... either way, really, on what Michael's motives were. Regardless, I'm fucking walking in circles here. Michael needed to atone for what he had done. He was, at least in his own eyes, directly responsible for killing his younger brother. And he knows through, as I said, the games and the security logbook, and I think the security logbook is a big one, that his brother is probably possessing one of these animatronics. And so he's doing everything in his power to help his brother move on. And conversely, his brother is doing everything in his power to help Michael survive, or at least relieve him of some of that guilt. And so, circling back to what I was saying originally, I like the story that, at least in the case of the Help 1 and 2 protag and Michael Afton, these are 2 characters realizing, oh shit, excuse me, oh shit, we've really done something horrible. And as kids, they were unable to really do anything about what they had done. But as they grew up and became adults and started getting jobs and whatnot, they realized, hey, I now have the power to do something about what I have done. And even if I can't undo what I have done, I can move forward into the future and do whatever I can to prevent anything like that happening again. And then, you know, Michael moves forward, and obviously he has a lot more context for the situation. Michael knows his father. He has a basic understanding of what's going on, especially after Sister Location. And in saying, okay, so I went down there, as you instructed me to do, in the end game FNAF Sister Location cutscene, where he says, I went down there, Father, I found her. She was right where you told me she would be. They thought I was you. I should be dead. I forget the exact lines, but they thought I was you. I should be dead. I only have one thing left to do. I'm coming to find you. And that line kind of implies, okay, now I am aware of the monstrosities that you have created, and I'm coming to make sure that you create no more. And in the case of Bonnie Bro, Help 1 and 2 protag, he says, okay, I've seen what's happening here. You know, I did something really, really bad when I was a kid. There's nothing I can do to undo that, so I'm going to go back to Fazbear, this company that has all of this bad PR and, you know, rumors about hauntings, and it's kind of hard to tell in universe how scummy, not how scummy Fazbear is, but how, like, well known it is how scummy they are. But, like, I'm going back to Fazbear This company that would not reasonably care for me. Solely because I know what I did, and I can make kind of a judgment that if something bad is happening here, I want to do anything that I can do to stop more from happening. And that's what he does. He gets this job as a tech for Fazbear, whatever he actually does. We don't really get a great grip on what he's doing through Help 1 and 2. We know through Cassie in Ruin that he was some sort of technician, and that he worked probably for... I mean, he worked for the Pizzaplex, for certain. But you have this... I don't know. I'm starting to ramble again. So I'm gonna circle back and close it off. My point being, if Steelwool is so insistent on bringing these characters back into the narrative, so many years later, however long it might be, Michael almost certainly dead. I don't see how they could effectively bring Michael back in one of these games. Security Breach 2 would have to be the one. I can't imagine they would bring him back in FNAF World 2. But, so I can't imagine how Foxy Bro would come back. I also don't think Michael needs to come back. I think Michael has gotten his closure and he's atoned for his sins. And he no longer needs to make up for what he's done. But in the case of Bonnie Bro's gone. Freddy Bro in Oswald's dad is... That's just like a weird thing that they kind of implied. In a game that is separate from the canon, Scott has made a point that everything is canon. They're all just different continuities. So, in that case, in a game that is in a different continuity from the mainline games, if Freddy Bro actually will be coming back around, it's hard to say. But if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. Because like I said at the top of this is a Chekhov's gun that I feel may not be fired for some time. Or at the very least, it's a Chekhov's gun that will be sitting forgotten for a little bit. And I'm intrigued to see whether or not they pull the trigger. Because genuinely, it's a super interesting plot point. I just don't see how or why it would make a big difference. And maybe they've got something up their sleeves. Maybe this is going to be a crazy... This will be like a crazy plot point here, where I'm made a fool, and in Security Breach 2 they make a huge deal out of it, and it's actually a fantastic plot point. But I don't know, and I don't think that it will be, so I'm intrigued to see how they move forward with it. But I'm going to close this one out. So again, if you have any ideas for what they might be doing, please leave a comment. I would love to hear any ideas that you might have. And with that, this has been the Pizzaplex Radio. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next morning. Goodbye.